All right, some bad news in the portal. We break down some more offensive scheme, and we preview the upcoming men's basketball contest against Dartmouth on Saturday. This is Locked On Vandy. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Well, there was some unfortunate news. Kisean Johnson has decided to decommit from Vandy. He was and reopen his recruitment. He was the wide receiver that had committed out of Alabama State. He's the one that had double-digit touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards. He was going to be electric in the slot, kind of outside, kind of like a utility guy all over the offense. But he has decided to reopen his recruitment. Why? Well, if I'm speculating, I'm guessing it either has to do with an admissions problem or a better NIL offer. Now, he hasn't signed officially, so this is still just a commitment. But I'm thinking it has to do with NIL. I'm thinking he had to get a better idea, and we'll see kind of where he commits next, and that will kind of confirm what the decision was, because it also could be he didn't get into school. So why does this hurt? Well, this hurts because he's an explosive player. He's got a little bit of swagger, and we talked about him when he committed. I talked about him when he committed about having the swagger that you need out of that wide receiver position. I think Vandy lacked that a little bit, and definitely doesn't have that in this crop of receivers, or at least we don't know that yet. I don't know how Lloyd Foungy acts on the field. I don't know how Jeremiah Dillon acts on the field, but those guys certainly are electric. Jeremiah Dillon's still in the boat. I think he's going to be a tremendous ball player for this Vanderbilt team. The freshmen are going to have to step up huge, and there's going to have to be some guys that are in that room that didn't transfer that are going to also have to step up huge. And that's just the way it's got to be. So what does it look like? It's still early in the process too. I mean, the Vandy can still replace Kisean Johnson with another receiver from the portal. Now, there was a couple of guys that I saw in my pre-show preparation that had hit the portal. Jeremiah Hunter and Kisean Jones, both guys from the Pac-12, which is now the Pac-2, and I'm intrigued by both, honestly, for different reasons. Now, Jeremiah Hunter from Cal, they were kind of an up and down team, but he's somebody 6'2", 180. That's just a guy, man. He is a beast on the field. He runs really good routes. He's dependable. He is somebody that I think is going to play a good role, could play a good role in this offense. And just looking at his film, he really kind of pops off the page, and he's very, again, I don't see how he's in the portal. I don't see how people aren't all over him yet, but he's somebody that just is tough to tackle, makes tough catches over the middle. He has a little bit of that swagger too as well. So I'm really excited at the possibility of getting this. And I think that being able to get Jeremiah Hunter will be a tremendous grab. Now, he's entered the portal, and Notre Dame is expected to make a run as well. Now, that's pretty tough competition. That tells you all you need to know about what ability he has. He had 62 receptions, 703 yards, and 7 touchdowns for the Golden Bears this season. Those are his stats. Now, again, he's electric. He's got swagger, and he's He's an all-around really, really good player. And for him to go to, if he were to go to Vanderbilt, that would be a tremendous, tremendous upgrade. And that's no shot at Kisean Johnson. But Jeremiah Hunter is a really, really good dynamic football player, and you hope you can get him. The other one that intrigues me is from UCLA, Kisean Jones, number 22. He's a running back, wide receiver, kind of a utility guy, somebody that can line up in the backfield. I wouldn't consider him like a 20, 25 carry running back. I would consider him somebody that if you wanted to go all receiver type, so if you wanted to go like empty personnel, or you could actually technically call that 05 personnel, you could use Kisean Jones and move him all around, put him in backfield situations, motion him back to the backfield and treat him like a running back, so that like you get all their, like you could do that for like game planning stuff where you get all their small guys on the field and you just move guys around. So you get really kind of creative with Kisean Jones and what he can do in the passing game. Really good on screens, really good awareness, really good spatial awareness. Something that stood out to me about Kisean Jones. He's dynamic. He broke away. He has some good breakaway speed, and he's just an all-around really, really good receiving back. He's kind of like a shiftier, faster, more explosive version. His style kind of reminds me of the way Austin Eckler plays and the way they use him for the Chargers, where he's going to have more receiving stats, and he's going to have better receiving stats than he does rushing stats. And they're going to kind of use him all over the place. They're going to put him in the slot, run jet sweeps with him, throw screens to him, motion him back in the backfield, do some run stuff just to kind of keep teams honest, put him as the running back in empty sets where you can do some downfield stuff with them. I mean, this guy is kind of your all-around guy. So excited to kind of see where this whole portal thing goes, because I think it's definitely interesting that now this wide receiver spot has become open. And so you have some options now, and you have some things that you could do. There's still some other guys in the portal that you could go after. Now there's still, the kid from that we talked about on a different, or on an earlier episode we talked about that visited. He is from Tennessee, Chattanooga. He's a guy that his name is Jamoy Mays. He's a wide receiver from Chattanooga. He had a really, really nice season for the Mocs. We talked about him. He's actually visited, and he's somebody that could make some noise here. Some names that I'm not sure if they've committed or not that I would have to check on. Jalen Griffin from UCF. You saw what he could do in the Gasparilla Bowl against Georgia Tech. Now that game didn't end up the way that UCF wanted them to, but I think he could be somebody that, if he's not committed at this moment, could come in and be a really, really good dynamic player. Let me look up Jalen Griffin. Let me make sure before I start spouting off that he hasn't committed somewhere. Doesn't look like he has. He is Jalen Griffin. His latest commitment was out of JUCO to UCF. So I don't think that he is. Don't think that he has gone anywhere or made any sort of decision. So that is good for Vandy. They can go after him. I think he'd be a good fit. You have, unfortunately, Cyrus Allen from Louisiana Tech has committed to Texas A&M. Keyshawn Williams from Wake Forest. That would be an interesting name, Keyshawn Williams. I'm going to look him up. I think he was somebody that really popped off the page when you watched, and they got a firsthand look at Keyshawn Williams when they played against Wake Forest earlier in the year, and so he had a nice little 75-yard, nice little 70. God, I can't talk today. Had a nice little 75-yard bomb that he caught from Sam Hartman, so that was really, really good. So making sure he's not committed somewhere just yet, but he's a big play threat, somebody that I think would add a dynamic piece. He's got an offer, again, to be stupid. His first highlight is actually against Vanderbilt. He is making big plays on the Commodores. So it's be very fitting for him to come on over to this side of the fence and really kind of make some plays and what's hopefully a savior year for Clark Lee. So those are some names that kind of jumped out at me. Some uncommitted guys that you could offer and bring into the boat as you want to replace Kisean Johnson. So keep that in mind. Keep that idea locked in your brain. Okay, so next we are going to break down. Again, we're going to break this thing down one play at a time. And it's going to happen probably I'm going to try to go every Friday unless there's something big happening. We'll try to go every Friday where I break down one scheme-related item. I'm going to try to make that as routine as possible. Again, this is week number 3 for me. So I'm still trying to just get my bearings. So we're going to do that. One play. I'm going to try to do a defensive play next week to kind of show you what Clark Lee is bringing over from his time as defensive coordinator from Notre Dame. So we're going to take a look at a defensive scheme. But today we're going to take a look at an offensive scheme that I thought was really, really interesting. So stay tuned for that, and we'll get back at you. Stay tuned. All right, talking about Gametime. Have you ever had a time where you had a frustrating ticket buying experience? Well, you weren't sure if the seats were good. You couldn't find last-minute tickets. So you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next event. Gametime is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So, what are some of the things you like? What are some of the things that you want to see? My thought would be that you would want last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Like you want a deal. You want tickets that are easy to find, and you want tickets for every kind of event in your area. You want to be able to view your seat. That's a big-time bonus. Gametime has it. They also have the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection. All right, so Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. That is a huge thing. All-in prices also show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal without the hidden fees. Don't you hate the hidden fees? That's the most frustrating thing for me. You go and click, you're like, whoa, this went from $89.99 to $119.99. Like that. It's all the hidden fees. So buy tickets in seconds as well. It's very easy. So Gametime has deals right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the best place to find last-minute deals. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section. Gametime picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Gametime guarantees that you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account. Redeem the code LOCKEDONCollege. It's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, welcome back. It's Locked On Vandy. Thanks for linking Locked On Vandy, your first listen each and every day. We hope that you are finding exactly what you are looking for. All right, so what I want you to know is that up next, when you're done here, go watch Locked On SEC. All right, when you're done here, do that. That would be wonderful. I think when you also You also need to check out Locked On Ole Miss. You also need to check in Locked On Auburn. Check out all the schools from around the conference. Let's be, as a conference, let's be the most educated conference let's be the most educated fan base in the conference. That would be a huge, huge deal. So in doing so, I want you to be football savvy too, because I'm a high school football coach. I'm going to share a little bit of expertise with you. I want you to be savvy, okay? I want you to be savvy. I want you to, when you see these plays develop, I want you to say, oh, my man Corey taught me this play on Locked On Vandy. Watch, he's going to watch the safety. The safety drops down. I know why this play is going to work. And if it doesn't work, you know, you can at least get an idea of why the quarterback looked a certain way. You can, you could probably break down the game a little bit better. So let's get to it. All right. Now, this is what we got. Okay. Whoop. Just like so. Okay. This is a review. All right. So remember this play. This play was probably one of my favorite pass plays that they run, because it puts the safety in a bind here, and it puts the corner in a bind. You got a pre-snap read. You got some mesh stuff going on, right? We did a run play. Now, you see a theme here. You see a little bit of window dressing. This is a simple scheme up front, but you see a little bit of window dressing. So what I like about this, here's the next one, okay? The next slide. Now, this is a 2x2, 10 personnel type formation. Now, what you're going to see with Tim Beck in this and crew is you're going to see them. They're going to, and I'll even full screen a little bit here for you. They go a lot of 10 personnel. They do a lot of like jet power read where they'll jet this guy across. See the H right here? They'll jet him across the formation. They'll get the linebackers to bump. When the linebackers bump, that's when you know that this play is going to be effective. They'll wrap the backside guard, which would be if you're jetting the guy from left to right, it'll be the left guard. It'll be the left guard will pull and wrap. You'll read the defensive end. The quarterback will shuffle, pull. Well, with this jet action, and sometimes they like to just straight give it on the jet sweep, these linebackers don't really know what to do, right? If they stay put, you just give it, right? You just give it and go. And if they don't stay put, if they fly out of there, you pull it. So with this play in particular, it kind of reverses that a little bit, right? It kind of reverses the give, pull, read stuff, and it kind of lets you and it uses the jet sweep more as window dressing than anything. And sometimes that guy will turn into a lead blocker. So he'll carry out his fake, and then he'll actually, what I don't have drawn is he'll actually turn up the field and go and lead block. So you've got your 5 guys up front. They're going to block zone to the left, as you see, right? They got against an even front right here. Pretty easy setup. It's bam, 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 bam. Basically, the uncovered guards are going to climb up to linebackers. This left guard over here may combo the nose guard up to the backer, but essentially he's getting up to the backer. It's just simple zone steps. All right. So what you have is this jet motion coming across. The jet is not going to be given. If it's going to be given, then you're going to have a play call for it, and that the back is probably going to be offset and probably going to end up leading on the edge. All right. But that guy's just window dressing at this point, right? Because you have a double option. This is a double option. Sometimes you can turn, and sometimes he'll get creative and turn this into a triple option where he'll pull it, and that's where the guy doesn't turn up. He'll just keep going wide. He'll kind of be like the bubble screen. So they'll dress it up like that too sometimes. But in a true just double option, they have to spruce things up, or the defense will get a bead on you, and they'll be able to defend you quite easily. So you have to be a little deceptive here. So the jet sweep goes by. The jet sweep is taking care of the linebackers. It's making the read a little bit clearer for the quarterback as far as the linebackers go. Because if the linebackers shoot out, the defensive end is going to squeeze. That he's responsible for that edge, so he's going to squeeze down, maybe even get upfield a little bit. So that if the linebackers are bumping, it means that they have outside support. So you're going to have some run lanes inside. So if those guys fly out of there, the two LBs, if they fly out of there chasing the jet sweep or anticipating a quarterback pull, then this is where you would give it to the back. he would hit the backside A-gap between the left guard and the center and just kind of follow that. That would probably turn into a combo, which is a double team on the nose guard. He'll probably just follow that and just kind of bend it in behind this nose guard and squeeze in between the center and the right guard. And the linebacker and the guard, the left guard will just pick up will just kind of wash the other linebacker as he's scraping over the top, and they'll cut. It's one-on-one with the free safety. We love those odds. Now, if those linebackers don't bite and they say, oh, this is just window dressing, well, the quarterback is going to read this in. That means now the end has a little bit wider edge contained, so that end might be a little bit more responsible for that jet sweep, and he may take a little bit wider of a path. Well, if he takes a little bit wider of a path, quarterback can't give it, or it can't pull the ball. Sometimes they have some stunts on to where if those guys don't move, that guy is going to be edge savvy. It just depends on how that guy plays. And sometimes he'll play a different way. Sometimes he's responsible for the jet sweep. Sometimes he just wants to hold down the edge, let the linebacker scrape over the top for the jet sweep. It works a bunch of different ways depending on the schemes and depending on specific play calls and side adjustments that the coaching staff feels like they need to do. But nonetheless, he will read that. If it gives him a pull read, which means he's going to pull the ball away from the running back and he's going to take the edge, that means now this jet guy just turns into a lead blocker, and now you have essentially 3-on-2 or even 4-on-2 numbers-wise, because if you have 10 personnel, those guys might be spread out a little bit, and they'll try to keep 6 in the box if they can. Now they might heavy bump it, but there's really not a whole lot you can do. This is pretty much this is a pretty nasty play if he can pull that off. But I think that with Nate Johnson, you can definitely pull this off. Now, I think this is a really, really good play for him. I think this is a really good play for St. Hilaire as well, and Whit Muschamp. I think they can all do this. They're all capable runners within this scheme. Now, especially quarterback power, which we'll break down probably next week or the week after. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the basketball game against Dartmouth. Stay tuned. Right, talking about FanDuel. FanDuel, as the weather gets colder, the NFL stays hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get a $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. All right. Welcome back. Yeah. Welcome back to the third and final segment of the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for being an everydayer. See the scroll down there. We thank you. So follow us on social media. Follow us everywhere you can. Okay. So as we wrap up the show, there's a very, very important basketball game happening at Memorial Gym on Saturday. Jerry Stackhouse and the boys go take on Dartmouth. Now, if you just look at the matchup at face value, it's not really that important of a matchup, but considering what's been happening with this basketball program, the recent momentum they've got of like actually not playing terrible basketball on the heels of playing horrendous basketball the previous two games before Memphis, this is a very, very important game as far as like, is this rising trend a thing, or was the Memphis game a fluke? And the real Vanderbilt team is the teams that have been playing prior to this, which has been abysmal for the most part. We'll see that happening and unfolding on Saturday. I'll be in the house actually. My friend Matthew Perkins got me hooked up on some tickets. So if you guys want to see me, put a name to a face. Not sure what section I'll be in, but I'll try to reveal myself on YouTube Shorts right before the game if you guys want to come find me. But this game is going to be interesting because it's the last tune-up before you get to conference play. And it's the last chance to say, okay, well, Conference play is where the real basketball starts. And so if you want to make some headway to being a tournament team, you have to play well in conference play. And in order to play well in conference play, you have to get all of the kinks out before your conference slate happens. And this is the last chance to do so. This is the last chance to say, hey, we need a presence on the boards. We're going to get a presence on the boards. This is the last chance to say, hey, Ezra Manjon is not our only player. We have other players too. JRT, Jason Rivera Torres. He's a really good three-point shooter, as I said in the last episode. You need to utilize him. I can't say that enough, right? That's a key to the game. Communication, right? Talk, not only on defense, but offense too. Like, you got to know and anticipate and talk and be able to say, hey, I need you here when we call this play, because we're going to get the ball to you. I'm going to set a screen. You're going to come off the screen. I'm going to roll. I'm going to run under the basket, around in the wing. You're going to throw it to me. I'm going to catch it and drain it every single time. Those are conversations that's going to be happening. Jerry Stackhouse has got to know. He's got to see that these guys just aren't on the same page. And hopefully they can get on the same page. And they were on the same page at times against Memphis, except for the fact they turned the ball over too much. And they get in these lapses, these big-time lapses where the other team just goes on a big run. And you can't do that either, because you're in trouble. You'll be in trouble if you do. So it's going to be an interesting test here. I'm not sure that Dartmouth can win this game. They might can. I don't know. I don't know how good Dartmouth is. And this doesn't really matter about Dartmouth, to be honest with you. You can't worry about other teams until you can stop worrying about yourselves. And right now we can't stop worrying about ourselves. So that's a concern, right? It's a legitimate concern. It's not me being negative. It's a legitimate concern. And until somebody can come in, and whether that's Jerry Stackhouse, and you hope for the sake of like not having to fire somebody again, you hope that that's Jerry Stackhouse and he can kind of get his what together. But it's just becoming more and more evident that like maybe he's not the right guy. But we'll see. We'll see if like the Memphis thing was like the Kickstarter for a very positive season, a salvageable season. There's still a lot ahead of you. There's still a lot of your goals are within reach still. Nothing is off the table. But, I mean, it's falling off the table. It's rolling towards – it's like when you spill the Coke. It's like when you knock over the Coke can and like if it hits the ground, it's going to bust open and spew everywhere and make the biggest mess of all time. It's kind of like that. And it's rolling and it's getting to the edge of the table. If you don't catch it now, it's going to hit the ground and explode. That's what this basketball team is going to do. They're going to hit the ground and explode if you don't catch some of these problems. And the problems are bad rebounding, no presence inside, lack of communication on the offensive defensive ends. There's way too many easy buckets as a result. And there's way too many opportunities that are missed because one guy was here and you threw it there. And when you threw it there, the only person there to catch it was the person in the front row or the usher bringing them a Coke. Like that kind of stuff, the communication stuff. Like you pass the ball to one guy and everybody kind of just stands around and waiting for him to do something. Everyone passes the ball to Ezra, just watching him do stuff, and he can't because he's one man against five. Can't do that. It's not good odds. I'm no expert. I'm not a basketball expert by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody would ever accuse me of being John Wooden or Dean Smith or Mike Krzyzewski. But I know that 1v5 is not a good number, not a good ratio. So that they got to help them out. So anyway, Dartmouth, 4 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock local time here at Memorial Gym. Jerry Stackhouse and the boys are going to look to get back in the win column before they start conference play. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be an interesting test. I'll be in the house. So be on the lookout for that. Either on it, follow me on Instagram, and you'll find me. I'll reveal what I'm wearing. It probably won't be this. All right. So that's going to, but nonetheless, that's going to do it for us here today for the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. We thank you for listening. We thank you for being an everydayer. We'll see you back here next week with some fresh content, some more scheme talk, more portal news, basketball breakdowns, and more. New Year's goals are on the way. All that good stuff right here. Keep it locked We thank you for listening. We'll see you back here next week. Until then, anchor down, have a happy new year, and let's get it.